Hello, good evening, and welcome. This is Nate's Podcast. Nate Podcast. Greetings to everyone on this Thanksgiving week. We hope you're doing well. Oh, I just love that music. Listen to that music. Do you hear that? That's the sound of it's time to talk. Let's talk on Nate's Podcast. Oh, that music just sounds good. Oh, she was wonderful. One of the greatest American artists. But anyway, thank you for joining our podcast. We welcome all of you to please subscribe if you're from New Orleans. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please give this show a thumbs up. And please feel free to give your comments on this podcast. Well, this is an introductory podcast, everybody. So please pay attention if you're going to ride this wave with me until Saints go marching in. You heard me? Let me repeat that. Please subscribe if you want to ride this wave with Nate Jones. I am here to represent the city of New Orleans and the people. Not just New Orleans East, but Lakeview and every district. So subscribe, enjoy the show, but please pay attention to this introductory podcast to kind of give you a warm up of what to expect for this podcast. We're going to have some special guests, maybe once or twice a week. Um, Perhaps some Saints players, local school educators in the Orleans, Jefferson Parish school systems, restaurant owners, you name it. We're going to have them on the show, a brief interview, whether it's a phone interview or we're going to do it live, depending on the circumstance. So smash that notification button and subscribe to this podcast. So let's go over this introductory podcast, okay? So if you have already listened to any future podcasts of mine after this one, then you might want to listen to this one so you can know what to expect. Of course, I am an English teacher. I have an English degree from LSU. Go Tigers. Yes, graduated from LSU in 2005, just after Hurricane Katrina. So listen up, us English teachers, we love glossary. So let me give you a glossary of terms to kind of be mindful of as we go on forward. Of course, my goal is to be a future leader of this city because I love all of y'all. The young, the old, the Lakeview, the East, the black, the white. Because for 42 years, I've been hearing this one expression: Saints go marching in. So I have to be clean with my speech so that I can keep y'all as an audience. And just to make sure that, some of your kids and some of my students that I've seen in the Jefferson Parish and Orleans Parish school systems, they might stumble across my podcast. Although this is for adults, you know, this will be public on YouTube. So let's go ahead and pay attention, ladies and gentlemen of New Orleans and America, to this glossary of terms. Now, I'm a cool cat, right? Some of you who know me, but you will get to know me as we go further with this podcast. So I'm going to try to keep my speech clean, okay? I have to keep it clean because if I don't and I run for office again, people might say, well, he can't control his speech. So let's go ahead and create some euphemisms, okay? Which is basically a watered down term for something else. All right, let's go over some adult words so that we can kind of know what Nate Jones is talking about. Okay, so there's a lot of bad words out there, right? Maybe five, six, or seven bad words that has been passed down for hundreds of years, right? So, adults, listen very carefully. We're going to go over this glossary of terms so that moving forward, you know that Nate is trying to keep it as clean as possible. Okay? Let's start off with the obvious. Number one, the N word, right? Y'all remember Rush Hour 1? Jackie Chan, Asian man goes into a black club with pool tables, a pool harbor, and he says, "What's up, my N word?" Well, instead of me saying the N word on this show, on Nate's podcast, I'm just going to say ninja, right? I used to be a car salesman, and we used to get finance for customers, and we talked to the banks. And the word ninja means no income, no job, all right? No income, no job, all right? And we know that a lot of black men don't have jobs in America. But when you hear me say ninja, that's a euphemism for the other word that I can't say. All right? Number two, the B word. Instead of me saying the B word, because I got to keep it clean, right? Some of your kids might be listening. Instead of me saying the B word, I'm going to say be a. All right? Everybody got that? Get it? Got it? Good. Be a to substitute for the B word, okay? Number three, the S word. I'm going to say ish instead of sh, you know what. I'm going to say ish in place of the S word. That's clear? All right. The A word, which is a donkey, right? Like that donkey in the Bible that was talking to Balaam. Oh, that was his ass. Well, going forward, I won't say the A word, ladies and gentlemen of America. I'm going to say arse. All right? Even though ASS, you can say it, and depending on the denotation and the connotation of ASS, you can get away with it, right? People in the media say it all the time. But if I say ASS, people are going to say, oh, he meant this. So I'm going to water down people Lakeview and Uptown and Algiers and Mid City and Gentilly and New Orleans East. I'm just going to say arse. All right? Okay, so that's another term I'm going to say. It was a slavery term, and I'm going to use this as comedy, right? Dave Chappelle did it. Richard Pryor's done it with words. So instead of saying N word, B word, as they call females during slavery, I'm just going to say it like a video game. I'm going to say Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch. So, depending on the context, I'm going to say Nintendo Switch. And we all know that that was once a video game, correct? Correct. So that's another glossary term. All right. So the F word, I'm going to stay away from the F word like the bubonic plague, like the corona. I'm going to stay away from that word, the F word, okay? The F bomb, because that F word is all over the world, not just America. So I'm going to avoid the F word, all right? Now I'm going to use a acronym or mnemonic device and say, or I might say, I graduated from STFU. I got an English degree from STFU. All right? So I got to water it down. I'm going to stay away from the F word because a lot of these podcasts will be scripted so that me and my team will know what to say, when to say it, and proceed from there. Good? All right. So those are my glossary terms. And if I miss any, just make sure you put in the comment section. And I'm trying to take about 10 seconds to think if I missed any words. I think I got them all, y'all. So, but going forward, you'll know whatever context I'm talking about, you'll pretty much understand it, right? Because I'm sure that your kids are going to be listening to this. And of course, I hear the N word in classrooms, I hear the F word in classrooms. Just ask any teacher in the Crescent City. These kids are a hot mess, but Mr. Jones has to set an example. I have to be an example and try to watch my speech. Because if I get a spotlight in the future, I have to be American and watch my language. People have been unhinged lately. Celebrities, politicians, they've been saying all kinds of bad words, but you gotta control yourself. That's what America does. We control ourselves. So going forward, I'll do my best to control myself and make this a great show for all of you. Make it a wonderful show so that we can have a great time on Nate's podcast every week, week in and week out. So we are going to go ahead and pause and have a few seconds for a local advertiser. And we're going to have some sponsors and also we're going to advertise local, small, and big businesses in the Big Easy so that we can help our fellow citizens here in New Orleans.
Bella Delish LLC is owned and operated by myself, Francitta Clemons. We offer private chef, catering services, and lunch throughout the week in the greater New Orleans area.
Need a lunch plate? Looking for a reliable caterer? Look no further. Francita is currently operating in the Crescent City area and she specializes in Creole and Cajun cuisine. That includes soul food. Items from mac and cheese, red beans and rice, yakamine, okra, gumbo, green beans, dirty rice, potato salad, fried chicken, baked chicken, smothered chicken, everything chicken. And did I mention cornbread? Yes, Francita can cook it all. Drop down to that description box and place your order with Francita today. Alrighty, back to our podcast. So this is an introductory podcast, and I'm just going to talk about one of the most popular topics in New Orleans, and that is the New Orleans Saints. Everybody knows I love my Saints. I was in the Superdome when the Saints won their very first playoff game, December 31st, the year 2000. I was sitting in section 106 with my stepdad. Great seats, lots of energy. Never heard a building so loud in my life. I think we had broken a record for decibel level of noise. It was the fourth quarter, under 2 minutes. The Saints were up 31-28. We had a 31-7 lead, but Marshall Faulk, who's from New Orleans, led those damn Rams back into the game. It was fourth down and the Saints were punting. We punted the ball, and Hakeem was the return man to receive for St. Louis. They could have made a comeback, but all of a sudden, Hakeem fumbles the ball. Hakeem fumbles the ball, and the Saints recover. If you remember Jim Henderson from Channel 4, he was so excited. Hakeem fumbles the ball! Hakeem fumbles the ball! And the Saints recover! Oh my, there is a God after all! Brian Milne, number 40 of the New Orleans Saints, recovers the football, and the Saints won their very first playoff game. Now, the next game, we got our butts beat by those damn Vikings. But I was in the Superdome, y'all, when the Saints won their very first playoff game. And talk about all the men were crying in the Superdome. Ladies. This was before we beat the Vikings in the NFC Championship at home. This is before we marched to Miami. Excuse me. And took Super Bowl 44 and took home the championship. So I was in the Superdome when the Saints won their very first playoff game. And it was one of the most exhilarating moments I ever experienced. Talk about unity in the Superdome. And we won a great game. And we advanced with our very first playoff victory. So now fast forward to 2023. We have one Super Bowl victory, and we have a winning playoff record, which is pretty good, thanks to Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And by the way, how about them Broncos? Sean Payton started 0-3, and now they won the last 5 out of 7 games. They beat the Chiefs. So now the Broncos under Sean Payton, who we still love, are now a contention. Sean Payton was a big success in New Orleans. So 2023, everybody. All my people from Uptown and Gentilly and Algiers. The Saints are 5-5. Not good and not bad. The bad news is we don't have a consistent quarterback like we had in Drew Brees. The good news is, y'all, them Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost yesterday to the 49ers, and I posted on Facebook. The Saints won by virtue of the Bucks lost or loss because the Bucks lost to the 49ers. They made it a good game, but the 49ers won. So at 5-5, the Saints are in first place, everybody. But let's go ahead and talk real. Can the Saints make a deep push with Dennis Allen? I mean, Dennis Allen has had a losing record with the Raiders when he was a coach the first time. Dennis Allen currently has a losing record with the New Orleans Saints. Now, the good news is also, besides being number one in the division, is that Dennis Allen does not have a losing record right now. The Saints are currently in a bye week. They're getting rest. They're with their families. This was a great time for them to rejuvenate during Thanksgiving break. At least we ain't got no Thanksgiving game. We play Atlanta Sunday coming up in 6 days. So the Saints can relax. We hope Derek Carr gets better. We hope Jameis can be able to step up if something happens because the defense is good, but the offense, well, we don't have Sean Payton. So they could be a lot better. So Dennis Allen, I got a question for you. What is your game plan or philosophy going forward as we march towards the playoffs? Now, let me say this. If the Saints win Sunday against Atlanta, I can say we're going to the playoffs because that'll be a great win because we'll be 6-5, and I really think we can win 4 out of 6. We beat the Falcons this Sunday, and we hate those damn dirty birds. We beat them. We're in good shape because Tampa already lost yesterday, which kept us at number one. So the Saints can pretty much become a favorite in the driver's seat in the NFC South. So Dennis Allen, what is your philosophy? What do you plan to do going forward? You got to score 28, 30 points, Dennis Allen. You just got to score 30 points. The magic number for Sean Payton in 2009 was 31. We scored 31 against Minnesota. We scored 31 against Peyton Manning and the Colts. You got to score, Dennis Allen. So here is Nate Jones's suggestion for Dennis Allen going forward. Dennis Allen, I won't call you a stupid ninja, but let me say this. On 4th and 1, your arse better go for it. In a league where you got to score points and possess the ball, you better go for it. Because I'm telling you, 90% of your players, offense, and I'm sure defense, who wants to get rest, they're thinking in their cerebrum, coach, just go for it. Put Taysom Hill in there and quarterback sneak. Let the defense rest. Granderson, Jordan, Demario Davis, let them boys rest. 4th and 1, go for it, coach. Nate Jones is saying it right now. Coach, we love you. We want you to do great. You're never going to be Sean Payton unless you do one of two things. You must go for it on 4th and 1 from here on out. Drew Brees, whenever he did 4th and 1 quarterback sneak, he was 36 of 37 conversion. That's darn near 99%. 99% on 4th down and 1. You tell me that Taysom Hill can't get a yard. I mean, even my elementary students know that. 4th and 1, quarterback sneak, get a yard. Because they play 10 yards for first down to keep the ball moving. Get a yard, coach. You got to ball hog. You got to possess the ball. Time of possession will rest your defense because they need fresh legs in the fourth quarter. Capiche? Dennis Allen, you can be just like Sean Payton. You got to play situational football. You can't just have a great defense. You got to play situational football. Nate Jones played situational politics 2 years ago. I ran for mayor during the darkest hour in American history. The government was acting like the Chinese Communist Party. No jab, no job. So situationally, I stood up in that moment and made a statement. Forever changed my life. That's one thing you can't take away from Nate Jones. I ran for mayor one time, and that's in the history books. And I just might do it again. So Dennis Allen, listen and listen very good. On 4th and 1, from here on out, go for it. Put Taysom Hill in, quarterback sneak, get that yard. That's all you got to do, coach. And secondly, coach, from here on out, your yards per play must average 8.3. The two times we had 8.3 was our Super Bowl year and a year we had Jimmy Graham. Super Bowl year, and after that, when Jimmy Graham was doing his thing, slam dunking balls through the goalposts, and Jimmy was a beast. So, coach, that's what I want you to do. We love you. I'm praying for 10 wins and 7 losses if you do it right. If we beat the Falcons twice, I think we could do 10-7. So, coach, it's all on you. Well, I thank y'all for listening to my introductory podcast. We're going to keep this around 30 minutes today because we got Thanksgiving week, and I don't want to chat too long. I want y'all to spend time with family, rest up, enjoy yourselves. I'm sure all of my students are having fun. I know one of my students is going to Disney World for her birthday, and hope she has fun, Mia and her family. So, everyone, whatever you do it with love and joy, and just remember, Saints, go marching in. Y'all be safe, and we'll see you next week.